This podcast contains explicit language.
And spoilers. Only if you suck.
This is Dave.
Carlos here. Two Fat Guys Talk Games, episode 43.
Or episode 2, map 3.
You did it right. Good work, Dave. I am Carlos Alexander, and with me, as always, is David the Hackman Hackman. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. Yourself?
I'm also doing well. Today on Two Fat Guys Talk Games, we have an extensive program. We need to talk about studios laying off all their workers despite having a AAA game series on their belt. Some stuff with Keiji Inafune and EB Games and Shaquille O'Neal. I don't know. Why don't you start us off?
Sure. Let's start with something shitty. The Ouya.
Let's start with the Ouya. Now, apparently, the Ouya wants to reimagine itself as a service where you can get on any hardware that would support it, like the WWE Network or Netflix or whatnot.
Netflix is probably the better comparison there. Really,
I'm going to say this.
The whole move to being a service is very much reminiscent of what Microsoft is trying to do with Windows and with Microsoft Office.
How do you mean?
Well, Microsoft no longer wants it that you buy a... You're not going to buy Office 2014. You're not going to buy Windows 9. You're going to do a monthly or a yearly subscription, which will give you access to all the benefits of the software. No subscription, no software.
Interesting. You know what? That's not a bad idea considering how expensive Office is normally.
I will say it's only a good idea once I see the pricing.
Sure.
Because the bottom line is right now they're gouging me on Windows for like $250 for professional for Windows 7. Let's not speak of Windows 8.
Yeah, we will not speak of that. We will not speak of the dark one.
That shall not be spoken of. And Office has always been expensive unless you're buying a student copy. So it may be advantageous for us, but it's more Microsoft, Adobe. Who else has been doing that now?
Big companies that would normally charge a lot that are losing on their bottom line because they charge so much, basically.
Well, it's not just that they're losing. When you buy a copy of their software, you can use it for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one-time purchase. There's no more profit coming in after that because it's yours.
So let's say that the Ouya can make this work, and you can get a little Ouya channel on your Windows machine. How do you feel about that?
Well, seeing as Ouya hasn't actually had anything on the system that I gave a fuck about, not really caring.
There were a couple of exclusives whose titles I don't remember.
Temporary exclusives that are now coming to other systems.
Temporary, that I gotta say, pardon me folks, my throat's a little scratchy here. I gotta say, I wouldn't mind getting if they were available even through an Ouya version of Steam or whatever, for some other service. Now, we were reading before we started this that Ouya wants to have its store available to the Mad Catz Mojo, which is an Android console that can connect to the Play Store. I have a NVIDIA Shield, and I'm kind of hoping that I can get Ouya games on it, because that way I can get the Ouya games I want and not have to buy the piece of shit itself.
You know, all I can say is, Ouya. Move on.
Well, could it have a game that is exclusive on it that would make you want to get it as a service on your machine? Could you fathom that happening? I'm asking out of curiosity.
No, actually, because back when Ouya became a big thing, when it initially hit its release, there was the chance. But very quickly, developers that were all pumped for it saw just how bad it was. I mean, I've talked about how Ouya kind of blew it from day one on previous podcasts, but developers other than the indies kind of jumped ship very quickly from the Ouya. So Ouya trying to make itself more mainstream and as a service, it's too little, too late, unless they pay for an exclusive, which will make them money. I just think that we're seeing a little bit too much saturation of groups trying to add itself as a service, trying to to Steamify themselves.
Steamify.
Well,
That is an excellent verb.
I mean, look at what EA did with its
With Origins.
Origins.
Yeah.
Origins, let's face it. Origin.
It's the
Yeah.
plural. Get your plurals right.
Whatever. Origin is.
Origini.
Ooh, Origini. There we go.
Origini.
Origin really was their way of taking Steam and Valve out of the picture and trying to make more money for themselves.
I'm okay
And
with
they've-
that in theory. It's just EA kind of does evil things with it.
Well, EA's terms of or TOS is the first one that I've read ever. I read that thing.
When they got to the part where they said they wanted to make a human centipede out of you, did you opt out?
Well, here's the thing. When I reached the point where they said they were basically going to make a mirror listing of what was on all of my drives, it was at that point that I realized that I really didn't want this around.
Yeah, it's a little grimy. It's a little grimy.
I found a utility that allowed me to fool it into thinking I had a 5 megabyte C drive, which had one file called Fuck Off EA. And then I played Mass Effect 3, and I played to my heart's content, and then I uninstalled it in case they patched that exploit. But, yeah, no, I am not a fan of Origin for mainly that reason. Other than that, I actually have no hatred towards EA's Origin. It's just another, I mean, it's like Uplay from
that company that wanted to make streaming games a thing that kind of didn't.
No, Uplay is one of the other Ubisoft's similar store.
So they're just popping up left, right, and center, I see.
Uplay's been around for a while.
There's GOG, there's Steam.
Uplay popped up as a service within their within Ubisoft for giving you rewards and crap within games and giving you access to live streaming and crap of that nature within some of the other games. And I have to use it on games. It doesn't really hurt me. It also doesn't have terms and services that offend me. So we're good.
I find it funny that this is not too dissimilar to the Dream Nintendo virtual console idea everyone throws out about subscribing to it and you get access to all of Nintendo's games.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be cool? And maybe if Ouya can do this right, it can make itself not horrible.
I don't hold up. In fact, I'm just going to say this is a losing proposition from day one.
Speaking of losers, let's talk about Gearbox Software for a little bit. They made Duke Nukem Forever.
They released Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, okay, they released Duke Nukem Forever.
They got a pile of shit in a box when they got the license, and they were told, put this pile of shit into a game and release it. They weren't given any time to fix shit. It would be kind of like us jumping onto a Doom WOD area, grabbing a mismatch of different ones done over 10 years and saying, here's a game. Because really, that's what Duke Nukem Forever was. Duke Nukem Forever, you could, as you went through the levels, you saw what decade they were built in. You had your actual Doom style level. You had your Half-Life style level. You had your Aliens style level. It all was one giant mess.
And speaking of giant mess, Gearbox is suing 3D Realms for wanting Interceptor Entertainment to make... these are the guys who did the Rise of the Triad remake recently.
Which was well done by uninstalled.
I have yet to play it, but I will. This is one of those games that I will get to, because Rise of the Triad really does deserve it. They're making a Duke Nukem 3D kind of remake. Duke Nukem, I forgot what the subtitle is, But in an interesting new wrinkle, Interceptor has now bought 3D Realms. And I was saying they should just take the next logical step and buy Gearbox, so that they are suing themselves.
Well, other than the legal ramifications of suing themselves, which would be funny, I don't think Interceptor has the budget to buy out Gearbox as successful as they've been, Borderlands 2.
Yeah, they got the Borderlands. They got the lands of borders, and did they do Aliens Colonial Marines?
Technically.
Gearbox seems to have its highs and lows, doesn't it?
Gearbox...
There are only so many excuses you could make.
Yeah, Gearbox kind of farmed that one out to a bunch of different companies, supposedly, so the mess they got back wasn't entirely their fault, but yet, bottom line is, they're the publisher, and they were the driving force behind it, so they're totally at fault. The videos they showed to people were completely and utterly fabricated.
Kind of like what I imagined Sonic 06's development cycle was like. Game Grumps joked at this back when Game Grumps was funny. And they've been funny here. But when they were joking that they were showing it off as a demo, and the president of Sega or whatever was like, "Oh, this is a very nice demo," and they're like, "Demo? This is a full freaking game. We're going to release this tomorrow."
Yeah.
Yeah, Gearbox.
Yeah. No, Gearbox... It's funny that they're reaching this point, and we still have no idea how Gearbox is going to actually use the license. But I've been doing a little bit of reading into this one, and Interceptor, I'm not going to say 3D Realms anymore, because 3D Realms no longer exists.
Well, they might exist as a subdivision of Interceptor.
As far as I can tell, Interceptor is pretty much just... There's no gain to actually keep the 3D Realms title around. Interceptor is just going to absorb them. Because 3D Realms has not been a value name since the 90s. But Interceptor, from what they're saying, and from what I've read, actually has a case as far as what they have the rights to the original Duke Nukem 3D and its re-releases. Now, it's going to be in the fine print whether this will count recreations based off the original work or not. I'm pretty sure that's where Gearbox is trying to make their case. But really, in the end, what it comes down to is Interceptor has shown that they can take an old property, do it justice, keep what made it good, and just move on.
So what you're saying is you want to see Interceptor remake Chrono Trigger?
No.
Why not?
Get this. You and this bloody hard-on for making Chrono Trigger.
So you're walking through the Ocean Palace, shooting shockwaves at enemies in an awesome Doom-esque FPS environment.
Go away.
Don't fucking judge me, man.
Oh, I'm judging. Hard judging. No, I
know you're hard? Is that what I was gonna say?
I think it was.
Oh, God.
You pervert.
I'm horrible.
I think what'll end up happening is Gearbox will make an agreement with Interceptor if Gearbox does in fact have a case. And they will agree to disagree, and Interceptor will make the Duke Nukem 3D recreation, and the fans might actually have a good game. Maybe. You never know. Or the worst thing that could happen is that it's a shitty game, and then 3 generations later, they make an Indiegogo funding campaign featuring the real Duke Nukem in order to try to remake it better. Speaking of which, so Shaq Fu is back, and they're trying to make a good game with the Shaq Fu title. Beat-em-up kind of character action-esque game, not unlike Marlo Briggs and the Death Mask, or whatever that game was that Two Best Friends showed off. Or, I guess, Bayonetta, Double Dragon. Double Dragon's kind of the best
God of War, I don't know.
Yeah. Fuck.
It looks like they're putting quite a bit of effort into this Indiegogo campaign, and hey, the fact that Shaq is on board and having a good time with it is definitely a promising sign. It is.
Shaq hasn't been hasn't been a name in years.
No, Hackman. What are you saying? Shaquille O'Neal likes his games. Likes to make his games.
I don't care.
Wants a new Shaq Fu. Listen.
What has he done in the last decade?
Don't be a Kobe. Don't be raping. Be playing Shaq Fu. Fighting guys with basketballs. That's how we do it.
No.
Shaquille O'Neal.
No. Shuck says, shut the fuck up. Shock the fuck up.
Shock the fuck
Shock
up.
the foo up.
It's Shaq.
Don't care.
Shock. He's not French. His name is... He's not Jacques Cousteau.
He's trying to rape my wallet. I think this is... So it's 3 days into a 45-day-long Indigo campaign.
Actually, I was thinking about that. I'm not sure if it was 45 days to begin with. I think it is, but we'll see.
Usually it's either 60 or 45.
And they have 66 grand now.
They have 66 grand to 450 grand, and... I mean, their video shows they're putting a little bit of effort into it and they're trying to be funny. But, no.
No, it's fine. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be so awesome that I'm going to scrounge up $6,500 to donate to it so that I can get that perk where they put me to work as a character designer in what has to be, and I'm paraphrasing David Serlin on this one, a reverse job. Basically, one of the perks is you get to be a character artist for them, which isn't so much as a perk as a responsibility. That's like getting someone a pet for Christmas. Also, if you're one of those people who gets people pets for Christmas, fuck you.
Unless they wanted it.
Unless you're 100% sure they wanted it. Don't get people a responsibility as a gift, Shaq Fu. Don't get me a plant, please. The plant will die.
The whole concept designer perk to that.
Graphic design. Well, something designer.
It was a concept designer. I mean, I understand kind of what they're going for.
How do you design a concept? As a concept designer, you don't design a concept. That's like designing a brainstorm. Why don't you think before you act?
Fool you. No, it's... I understand they're trying to do it as in, somebody who wants to support them, but also has interests in getting their name on something to try and maybe break into the industry.
Yeah, this is true.
$6,500 is a hell of a lot of money for you to try and get your name out there. You might as well just use it to buy the equipment and start drawing stuff and putting on websites.
Yeah, you could buy the equipment and save the rest to live off of for a little while. So, I mean, that perk is controversial. Other than that somewhat ill-worded perk, I think the whole campaign is cool and I kind of want to fund it. I'm not sure if I will yet, though.
Yeah. No, I will, I'll stay the foo out.
You'll stay the foo out. Haha! So, speaking of Ken Levine...
that's fooed up.
So, Ken Levine and whatever the name of his studios is Insomnia? Is that right?
I believe so.
Called Insomnia Games.
The BioShock.
The BioShock guys. They basically were shit canned after being on what was apparently like Game of the Year last year, supposedly. BioShock Infinite.
Irrational Games.
Yeah, Irrational Games. Got their shit canned. And as I was telling the Hackman before the podcast, I personally believe that this is what happens when you don't make oodles of Elizabeth Bourne. That chick had the finest rack.
I like some of what Ken has done over the years. I like his development process. I like how he thinks in a lot of ways. But this showed very little caring for anybody but himself. Because he had a AAA studio, he had all the staff to do stuff, but Kenny Boy decided that, life wasn't good enough, that he wanted to get back to smaller development that he had full control over, even though if you watched any of his videos or just followed things through, he had one hell of a lot of control over BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite. So he can't say that he was being hindered by the studios.
What is it with these game devs being prima donnas? They're fucking game designers.
I mean, he basically closed down the studio to focus on a smaller group making, I hate to call them this, but indie games, but he wants to do more professional, self-developed games. He thinks the AAA market is done. Which makes no sense, seeing as he's made his...
He was there.
He's made all of his money based off of AAA development that he has done good work on.
Game design is like making movies. It's like making anything. Unless you are the total superstar who can fund and do everything yourself, it is going to be collaborative, and that means you have to compromise. You can't be a prima donna and expect to have your way all the time, even if it's your company. But
that's just it. He's had it that way. He's had it his own way. On each game that he's done, BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite, for the ones I can think off the top of my head, they gave him full control. He's a whiny little bitch when he doesn't get his way. And guess what? He hasn't been whining that, oh, well, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't because they said I couldn't. If that had happened, we would know about it because it's just the sort of personality he is. He's had full control, but he's decided to take his ball and go home. He could have easily kept this studio open, doing something else, and then still had his little indie studio that he was doing his the next godly creation to mankind.
Yeah, I got BioShock Infinite for free on PSN, and I will play it, but I suspect I won't be overwhelmed. And then when I do, I'll start sending angry tweets to Ken Levine and see how long it takes him to block me.
It just seems like such a... The biggest thing here is that nobody saw it coming. It was just... It almost seems like he just invited everybody into an office one day. In fact, I think that's what I was reading just before this, is he brought everybody into a meeting, started talking about the history of the company, and then ended the company. It's just like, yeah, okay, we're done, people. Yeah, I'm done. I'm going to make my own company, and you're all jobs. Fuck you. If I was working in the industry, I would not want to work for him.
Me neither.
Because this obviously shows a complete lack of respect for the people that have gotten you where you are.
Yep, exactly that.
Now, if I was one of his subordinates higher up, I would...
Subordinate is not higher up.
No. Okay, not higher up than Ken, but like...
one of his higher ups.
One of his higher up subordinates.
The subordinate is not higher up. I said subordinate, so I thought you were going to say under him. A subordinate works under you.
Yes.
Yes. There's no higher up subordinate on the chain unless you're your boss's boss. Okay, hang on, folks. We're gonna have to pause it for a second as I explain this to Dave with a diagram.
No. Fine. Second in command. If it was one of the people he wasn't taking with him to this new studio.
Under or above him?
Under.
So subordinate.
Second in command.
Like Riker.
Yes.
Okay, it's Riker.
The Riker of the company, if they
Wait.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Commander Riker or gay porn star Ken Riker?
I've never heard of the latter.
Neither have I.
Moving on. No, I would have grabbed those who wanted to stick around for my own studio, and then talked with one of the main studios.
Call it Shitbag Games.
Call it something, because they had a good studio there. They had a good crew. They could have easily formed a brand new studio without Kenny Boy.
Yeah, unfortunate, but what do you do?
We'll see what Ken goes on to make. I kind of hope that he tries to make something along the lines of Fez that fails badly.
I kind of hope that he also goes down the route of making something like Fez and fails, while another developer gives us a Mega Man Zero-esque inspired game and succeeds wildly. You have seen the trailer for Azure Striker Gunvolt, yes?
I've seen it.
And this is another game Keiji Inafune is directing. Obviously, he's part of the company Concept that's doing Mighty No. 9. But he's also directing this game that Intercreates, creators of Mega Man Zero and Mega Man 9 and 10, are creating, which basically looks like Mega Man Zero with different characters.
So let me get this straight. They made Mega Man Zero.
Yeah, the Mega Man Zero series.
Which was good.
Which was pretty good.
And then
they also made Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent.
Okay, so they had a successful run there.
And then they made Mega Man 9 and 10. And then they came back and
made Mega Man 9 and 10 that sucked ass.
Mega Man 9 and 10 did did not suck ass. They had redeeming qualities.
They've devolved.
Also, there was a lot of pressure from Capcom to do things a certain way. Because Intercreates likes to make good-looking games.
Yeah.
So if they had their way, Mega Man 9 and 10, Mega Man probably would have had a whole new sprite and looked pretty cool.
No, the moment you bring Capcom in there as far as 9 and 10, I kind of have to give them more credit.
yeah, this is true. Azure Striker Gunvolt for the 3DS, looking like a mighty fine title.
It looks neat from the little trailer that we've seen so far. I'm going to need to see actual gameplay. From what I was reading, the game's done. Completely. It just needs to be, for some reason, the publisher is holding it up. There's been no Western announcement for a release yet.
But the official trailer was English subtitles. As you pointed out,
it was English subtitles. It has an English title, which is separate from its Japanese title. So we might... I'm going to say we'll probably see it this year, if we're lucky.
We'll see. Have you been following Mighty No. 9's development at all?
Not really. In fact, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even vote that last vote
for Call
for who was going to be the check
Call
along with them.
Yeah.
So I voted the first time. I forgot to vote the second time, but it still went the way I wanted.
Cool.
So we're good. As much as I appreciate the ability to vote on certain things and certain Kickstarters, in a lot of cases, I can't bring myself to give a damn. I've Kickstarted it or I've Indiegogo'd it. And call me when you're done.
Look, I want, anytime they are discussing the creaminess of a female character's legs, I want to be in on that conversation. Super creamy versus mildly creamy versus mocha creamy. So in Mighty No. 9...
One of these days, I'm going to hear a knock on my door when we're doing one of these podcasts for somebody to arrest you.
They've tried. And so they've added a dash to Mighty No. 9, not unlike Mega Man X's dash, but on a meter, and when you dash, you absorb stuff. So dashing with timing is key to avoiding getting hit if you can't dodge stuff.
That's actually kind of interesting. Not exactly what I want, though.
I told people this, it's not going to be exactly like Mega Man. Keiji Inafune actually
he can't.
He likes a lot of Western design philosophies. So Mighty No. 9 is going to be Mega Man-esque in a lot of ways. And it's going to borrow from a lot of other things that he wants to see put in Mega Man, but that he can't because he no longer has the pull-over Mega Man he once had.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, he's a good designer. So, I Kickstarted it. I had no problem. I put not as much money into it as I put into, say, Shantae, but I still put in, I think, $100 into it. I stopped short of going with the physical rewards because, that was a little bit expensive. I guess this is why I understand the need for some people to be following the development and the production all the way through, not just to be able to comment on things, but sometimes you are asked some things, whether you want it this way or that way, and voting and everything else. But I'm more these days, I'm interested in the final result.
And I'm totally okay with that. I think
more so than the development. I mean,
I think it depends on the type of person you are. I like to see how development is coming along. It gets me more excited for stuff and confident that I supported something because it's an investment, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a shareholders meeting, even though I'm not a shareholder. But there's some people who just want to say, no, I don't want to hear anything. I want to get excited about it when I'm close to playing it. I get that too.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am Star Citizen. I kickstarted that one, and I'm glad I did. Some of the things I heard from one of my now former coworkers, he was following the production of it very heavily, would keep on telling me different things, and Star Citizen is one of the largest crowd-funded games ever. I think they're like at 45 or 44 million that they've raised up to date. But the game doesn't release until 2015. So I kind of don't care until the game at least has a release date. I care, but anything you tell me right now can change 2 months down the line. So why get all bent out of shape or pumped up for something that could be removed very quickly? At least if you're in the last year of production, you're not usually going to make such sweeping changes that a feature that you were so pumped for gets removed, unless it has to be delayed. So
yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, what if a feature you were really looking forward to gets removed during development? If you weren't following it, you might not even remember by the time the game comes out.
Yeah.
So it's pros and cons either way.
It is. Speaking of pros and cons, EB Games.
Marking up the prices.
EB Games or GameStop and their history now of bumping up their prices, not just based on supply and demand, but on them having a market for them. So, in this case, the most recent one is them increasing the PlayStation 4 camera from the everybody else price of $49.99 to $59.99. Or was it $59.99 to $69.99?
They bumped it up $10.
They bumped it up $10. And their argument is because we can.
In a way, that's how the free market works. You don't have to go by the MSRP for anything, right?
You don't, but this EB Games / GameStop has done this on more than just things that were kind of out of stock. Look at Xenoblade.
Yeah, they bumped it up because
the game that they were the only one who actually could release due to an agreement with Nintendo. So you could only buy it through an EB Games / GameStop, and they were selling used games of it for $90.
Yeah, for $90.
Now, the bigger consequence there is they were actually opening up new copies and selling as used.
Oh, EB GameStop. Is it any wonder that they're grimy? They've been grimy for years.
They've been grimy, but you kind of expect a company to have at least a little integrity.
I don't. A company has to prove that they do. They have none until proven otherwise.
That's true.
And not every company wants to fucking rip you off either. Look, Amazon's a big company. They're in it for the moolah, but they don't just kind of arbitrarily raise prices just because they can.
No, they don't.
Like, they charge you the MSRP and not a cent less.
No, they do actually have a whole bunch of discounts.
Yeah, they do. I did get Mario and Luigi 4.
They're very fluid.
I did get Mario and Luigi 4 on discount. So yeah, you're right. Not every company's trying to fuck you, but EB GameStop is.
They've kind of made a business of fucking you. Buying brand or games released the week before for back from you that was $60 for 30. Sorry, I said 30, I meant 5. And then selling it back to the users for $5 less than new.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's
a grime business.
It is. It's a used game business.
There's a lot of grime to gaming because, unfortunately, it didn't evolve in the way the art form should. This goes back to game reviews being so corrupt and shit as well, right?
Yes. And in a lot of ways, they still are.
They still are.
Depending on which reviewer and which site they're working for.
I remember
there's still a lot of payoffs happening.
I remember when EGM told publishers, hey assholes, you want better reviews? Make better games. EGM once put that in print. There is no way any website
would do that.
Would do that. Polygon wouldn't do it. Kotaku wouldn't do it. Okay, Kotaku might do it, but Kotaku will do it for all the wrong reasons, like, say, breaking an agreement to breaking some news agreement, or any of the other grimy things Kotaku does on a daily basis. Giant Bomb wouldn't do it, as much as I wanted to believe Giant Bomb was different. No, they wouldn't do it.
No.
Insomnia might, but the guy who runs Insomnia is basically... He's a rather snooty dude who...
I've never even heard of that one.
Insomnia, sometimes called Culture VG.
Oh, okay.
It's a game site where, and to their credit, they're not trying to pander to any publisher, and they're not bought by any publisher. They give honest reviews on games. Now, to their credit, I've read their reviews, and for the most part, I see that there's real thought going behind them, and they're not just doing shit like when Jeff Gerstmann slammed PlayStation All-Stars for having drab menus. That doesn't happen there. On the other hand, I get the sensation that the higher-ups on that site like to smell their own farts.
Yeah.
Because the writing is a little snooty.
Nose in the air.
And, you know, they're concerned about things like people using the word gameplay to describe mechanics, and they should just use mechanics. But gameplay is harmless. It does no harm to anyone. You know, shit like that, right?
Okay.
So these are your options. The mainstream media that is bought and paid for by publishers, or the indie parts that are snooty and devoid of any kind of social desirability. Or you could just choose for yourself. I kind of want to find the middle ground between all those things.
Fair enough. I mean, I've stopped going to Kotaku for a while now. Polygon replaced that link on my site.
Polygon has okay news articles sometimes, but other times you read them and you're like, you're just as grimy as everyone else.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, I read IGN and they're pretty grimy too, right? So.
Wow, that is pretty low on the board.
It's pretty low, but again, like, when I was ribbing you for going to Kotaku, you still were giving me the answer that you just went there for news, and that's fine. I really just go to IGN because I'll get the art, like I'll get the news headline, and then I can go, oh, now I can go find information on better sites.
That's why I go to a variety of sites.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, okay, these guys are talking about the same thing, but aren't talking out of their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Pretty much the current news. I mean, there's not much going on right now. I mean,
well, there's plenty going on, just not shit we want to really care about or talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the PS4 is currently pretty much out of stock in North America, thanks to the Japanese market now being active. And from what I've been told by different storefronts, we're looking at April or May until shipments start coming back to North America, at least in any definable stock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, different stores are getting 1 or 2 a week, sort of thing, versus the 1 or 200. Which kind of pisses me off because I actually was going to buy a PS4, or I'm trying to, so I can play Infamous at the end of the month. Though, I'm not going to feel too bad because I'll probably be playing Diablo 3 Rebirth Souls.
Yes, indeed.
So I'll have something to fill that void in my life right now.
Yeah. I'm going to wait for the console version of Reaper of Souls But still looking good. I'm looking forward to it.
Got my copy of the Tales Chronicles.
Oh, God.
Which, stay tuned.
No.
Replay video.
No. I don't
Coming
wanna. I went through every one of that game's shitty dungeons once already.
And now we're gonna do it again.
Oh.
Maybe not. We'll see. I'm thinking about dragging
80 hours of pain.
I'm thinking of dragging Carlos through a different Tales game first,
80 hours of pain.
and then coming to that one, because that's 2 games.
Oh, no.
That's the original.
160 hours of pain.
We'll see what our first replay.
I'm
title
ruined.
is. No, you're not. Just means you have to sacrifice a little bit of time.
Shitty Tales games.
What have you been playing?
Diablo 3, Sonic 1 and 2 on the Nvidia Shield, which are awesome versions of those games. I've been hankering to play Sonic Adventure 2 again, but I haven't yet. Some Jamestown. Some, what the hell is the name of that game? Strider. The new Strider.
Yeah.
You finished it. I'm not quite there yet, but it's pretty good. It's 1 part NES Strider, 1 part Genesis Strider, 1 part Shadow Complex. It's fun.
I fired it up, and in the matter of 6 hours, I finished it. I didn't 100% finish on my first playthrough. I think it was 80.2%.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, solid mechanics, solid fighting. There were really no areas that I thought were unfair. I actually managed to get to a couple areas that, from what I've read, I wasn't supposed to get to until later. So that was kind of neat.
You're a cyborg space ninja. They gotta expect you to do this.
Kind of worked my way through a couple areas like that. But yeah, no, very solid game. So Strider I've been playing. I've been playing lots of Bravely Default, which is the best thing Squaresoft has released in a decade.
But you like Tomb Raider. Didn't they release Tomb Raider?
Shit. Sorry. The first RPG they've released in a decade. That has been good.
Does Lara Croft level up at all?
Fuck you.
I didn't even know.
The first Final Fantasy game.
So, it's not Final Fantasy.
Dude, they have admitted completely this started off as a Final Fantasy game.
I don't see it in the title.
They got...
Therefore, I'll kill you.
You couldn't hurt me.
We'll see.
Anyway, they've admitted that they got partway through making a Final Fantasy game and then said, you know something? This will work a hell of a lot better if we tweak it this way, not call it Final Fantasy. Oh, but shall we go back and change the item names, the spell names, the character names, or anything else in this world? No, we'll just leave that.
Red Mage, Phoenix Downs.
Fire, Fira, all the others. It's the best Final Fantasy game not called Final Fantasy.
Sure.
And it really is. I mean, they've added a number of things that if they aren't in future titles, I would feel very pissed off. The fact that you can speed battles up, you can put it into an auto battle system, the job system I love.
You can change the encounter rate.
You can change the encounter rate from 0 all the way to
300%, is it?
Actually, it goes minus 100, 100, and then...
That was minus 100. Do you start to get pulled into battles you already beat?
Okay. Regular is 100%.
Uh-huh. No battles would be 0. So what the hell is minus 100?
You know, it just says minus 100.
What the hell does that mean? Mathematically, you need to be getting into so few battles that the DS explodes in on itself.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love
Implodes.
I love the
Sorry.
fact that you can increase or decrease your encounter rate. Because if you are in a dungeon where there's a hidden treasure chest, and you just want to find it, or you just want to go through a dungeon and get all the treasure chests and just then start grinding? Great. So, loving that. Other than that, playing Diablo 3 on both console and on PC, depending on who I'm playing with.
Yeah, PC got the new 2.0 patch that I'm hoping consoles will get sooner rather than later.
I'm not expecting the consoles to get that until Reaper of Souls.
But I don't want to be a throwing barbarian.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen because of how much it would cost them to do a patch. Yeah, pretty much. PC Master Race. Definitely not playing anything on Xbox or Xbone. In fact, I haven't fired up my Xbox in a long time.
About a month and a half ago, I unplugged my Xbox Power brick to lend it to a friend's brother who ended up not needing it, and I haven't plugged it in since.
The Xbox has kind of been dead for a long time for me. Even Xbox Live games I've been able to repurchase, the ones I care about on PSN. And the Xbox One just holds no interest, so it sits there. It actually is plugged in, but the Xbox controllers get used on my computer. So it's kind of a paperweight right now.
Hopefully there will be an Xbox Mini handheld console for your 360 needs.
You mean none?
I know.
The only games that I would actually replay on there are games with you, and those would be like the Gears of War or Halo games.
Yeah, Gears of War's tight.
And truthfully, might happen for Gears of War. But for Halo, I'm done.
I'm not replaying Halo. And I won't even touch Halo 5 if 343 hasn't fixed long outstanding issues. And I still have my doubts that they will, despite their words.
Oh, so do I.
So, anything else to talk about this episode?
No,
I think we're good. Good chat. We've gotten through the gaming news we wanted to get through since last time we spoke. Yeah.
I think map 3 is just about done.
Map 3 is just about done.
I think we 100%'d it.
I think we did. Got all the secrets. One of the lost souls got stuck in a wall, so we can't get 100% kills anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Oh, well, this has been Dave.
Carlos.
Two Fat Guys Talk Games, map...
Episode 43, signing off. Episode 43.
Episode 2, map 3.
We're not doing seasons.
Yes, we are.
I will murder you. I will shiv you with a paperclip.
That would actually work.
Really?
Paperclip could hurt you.
It could hurt you. You know. You're an idiot.
So, if you've liked what you heard, you want to leave us some feedback, you want to give us some criticism, whatever, our podcast site is tfgtg.blogspot.com, where you can also find the feed link and our YouTube channel.
You can also find us on Twitter at TFGTG. Yeah. There's no way to continue that. So
There's no way to continue that sentence.
Please leave us some feedback. We accept good and bad. We will usually respond, seeing as we have such a small group audience.
We do have thousands of millions of followers, so we might not respond to you right away.
Sure, let's go with that.